A cop in Manhattan is apologizing after he was filmed kneeling during a Black Lives Matter protest. He's apologizing to his colleagues because he feels that this show of solidarity with the protesters betrayed his fellow cops. And the email was later leaked to the New York Post. The name of the cop is Robert Catani. He's a lieutenant in the New York Police Department. And he says that he actually lost sleep and experienced a decrease in appetite over the, quote, horrible decision to give into a crowd of protesters' demands. So here's what the New York Post is reporting. The cop in me, he writes, wants to kick my own ass. The conditions prior to the decision to take a knee were very difficult as we were put center stage with the entire crowd chanting, "I know I made the wrong decision. We didn't know how the protesters would have reacted if we didn't, and we're attempting to reduce any extra violence." So he's on video kneeling, and I want to show you the video because there are other police officers there who refuse to kneel. And it's weird. It's almost as if he's lying about violence breaking out if he refused to kneel. Let's take a look. So, Cenk, lots of cops there didn't kneel. There have been multiple cases where cops were asked to kneel and they didn't do it, didn't break out in violence. I mean, it's just a complete and utter lie. And this letter to his colleagues is just so pathetic.
So there's a lot we learned from that letter, though. So number one, it turns out some of the cops that were kneeling because they were scared rather than in any kind of solidarity. So if that's the case, doesn't matter at all. Like they didn't mean a word of it. And so, okay. Now, the second thing we learn is he says, well, you know, as the cop in me wants to kick my own ass. Do you understand what you just admitted there? That the cop in you wants to kick ass. That is why they're protesting in the first place. Because all you do is kick ass and kick other people's asses, right? But to me, I mean, look, there's more to this letter, and it's just amazing. But to me, the most revelatory part is his sincere regret at ever showing any compassion to a protester. Like, I'm so sorry, fellow cops. We all hate people asking us to do nonviolence. We hate them so much that I want to do violence against myself for ever agreeing with them. You can't find a more thorough revelation than this, and there's more.
So here's more from his letter. He says, I spent the first part of my career thriving to build a reputation of a good cop. I threw that all in the garbage on Sunday. I could not imagine the idea of ever coming back to work and putting on the uniform I so wrongly shamed. However, I decided that was the easy way out for me, and I will continue to come to work every day, being there for my personnel. What a hero. What a true hero. Wow. By the way, in his email, he also criticized Derek Chauvin's behavior, but still mentioned that he regrets taking a knee. He says, we all know that a-hole in Minneapolis was wrong, yet we don't concede for other officers' mistakes. Okay, so just let me comment on that part because that really stood out to me. And this is a great point that was actually made by Chris Rock in one of his stand-ups. And I didn't know about it until I saw it on the Michael Brooks show. And it's such a great point. Look, police officers aren't the same as restaurant dishwashers, right? So if you're some like lazy person who was hired to wash dishes, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. No one's going to die because the worker is a bad apple. But in policing, let's say we concede that there's only a few bad apples. Now, clearly, I don't believe that, but let's just concede for the sake of argument, right? A few bad apples means that people die, innocent people die. And what makes this situation even worse is that the rest of the police department refuses to do anything about the so-called few bad apples. They just accept it and allow it to be the way it is. And that means people die and they're okay with it. That's essentially what the argument is. It's so unbelievably immoral and ridiculous to just say a few bad apples, as if even if that were true and it was just a few bad apples, it's not that big of a deal, just that innocent people are going to die. And as long as it's not more than a few bad apples, we're not going to do anything about it. I mean, it's just so ridiculous.
But Anna, it's even a little bit worse than that based on what the letter says and what you just read. He says, basically apologizes for calling out any other cop. He's like, yeah, what Chauvin did might be wrong, but what I did is so, unacceptable. And I want deep felt apology from my fellow cops for joining for 1 second a protest of what other cops did. In other words, thin blue line, that's actually a very thick blue line. It doesn't matter if we even murder people. We're never going to turn in the bad apples, and we're never going to criticize the bad apples. So, that's a culture that says we're going to protect lawbreakers. We're going to be a gang, and our gang's code is even if you break the law, even if you kill people, we stick together. We never apologize for it. And when given an opportunity, instead of showing any degree of empathy, we commit further violence to support our fellow cops, even if they're literally dead wrong. So that's exactly what the protests are about how you guys have a culture of violence and a culture of complicity in that violence. You're not just a couple of bad apples. The whole barrel is totally and utterly rotten because the culture teaches them to be rotten and to stick together.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.